the sheets.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they really thought about it, but they probably don't care. So yeah, that's kind of what came out of like all that. Like, can you imagine that the first concept was just so wildly different? I mean, if we can go back to the original concept was this, right? So this is what happens again when you're negotiating with a client, and how it could totally go off the rails. It could totally change. But in the end, it ended.
Was it the 50 budget for both, or how did that end?
Yeah, it was 50,000 for both. So also we didn't really make much money off of it because there's things went wrong, like we needed what were the things that ended up costing more? We needed manicurists. We needed 2 manicurists, we found out, because it's just preparing the nails takes so long and it's so hard to do. It actually takes time. And then
you should use the product, huh? Should use the product, just print and glue them, and there you go.
Well, we are using the product, but the problem is like the product is cheap, so it doesn't look good on camera. So you can't, like, putting it, gluing it, sticking it on the nails and taking it off would take so long. What we ended up having to do is they would put it on fake nails and then press the fake nails on with the sticker. You know what I mean? So, but that did require 2 of them busting their ass. So they even worked on it at home, so they ended up paying them all these extra fees for, like extra hours. And then the crew, we went overtime, the location went overtime. It basically, I'm still working on the final numbers on the budget. So I'm not sure what where we're at, to be honest. I think we're gonna make maybe 10,000 or something like that. I'm not sure, but
that was, oh, sorry, Vasquez, you go.
Go ahead.
No, I was just mentioning 10. That's like 25% though, right? Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it is, but for me to split that with my partner means that, I work on it for quite a while and make like 5,000 or less is not really, I mean, it's not bad. I'm not going to complain about it. It's work. So it's honest work. But it could be less. I don't know. We'll see. I'm still waiting to get the numbers. We still haven't got everybody's invoices and things like that. So basically that's what happens afterwards is you need to collect everybody's invoices. You got to make sure that you get, Jesus Christ.
And do you have a person just for that? Just for like the invoices and signatures?
Oh yeah, my partner does. She handles all that shit. So.
I was just going to ask, how do you address with the client that the initial budget that you send to them will probably end up being different, slightly different to the final cost of production? Like, is that just something that you have a conversation about at the beginning? So you say, this is all the estimates, that price may change, but obviously you're going to try and keep the production as close to that.
With the client?
Yeah, with the client. Yeah. So if it ended
up,
the
problem is most of the time, once you've agreed to a number, you have to get that number no matter what. So if I really am having a problem, then I'm going to have to change the concept to, it's always this, figuring out, okay, how much do I want to sacrifice to get a better end product, or how much do I want to sacrifice the end product to get a better profit margin? And so different producers have different attitudes about it. I know some producers that are really good at what they do, and they have no fucks to give. Like, they will set their margin and they will literally chop and do whatever, like butcher the commercial to get that, to keep that profit margin, right? I think I tend to lean towards getting a better product at the end. I prefer that, you know, like even on this project, there was that point where I was like, okay, fuck it. If I don't make money on this, let's at least let's just commit to making like a really awesome like final product. But there are jobs where I've been where I'm like, from the get-go, I'm like, you know what, this job is not that spicy for the portfolio. It's not really that special. I don't care about the product itself. So we're gonna fucking make sure we make money no matter what. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it really depends on you. It's up to you. But in general, yeah, you're gonna if you go over budget, you're gonna have to let them know as soon as possible. And often the only time you're gonna get approval for that is when it's their fault, like they're the ones coming up with new ideas and shit like that. And then you have to say, hey, no, it's gonna cost more. The flip side, which doesn't happen that often, is an open budget where the client is literally going to pay every contractor. They're going to pay everything. They're going to pay you as a contractor, and then you're just managing their budget for them. So it's like super transparent. They know where every penny is going. But most clients don't like that, because then me as a producer, I'll be charging all the days that I wouldn't normally be charging for prep and stuff like that. And then also I won't be as incentivized to try and get deals because I'm not pocketing that money. I'll just be like, yeah, fuck it. Let's get instead of a Mustang, let's get a Lamborghini. Sounds good, you know? Versus if it's my money, I'm like, do we need a Lamborghini? Like, what does the Lamborghini say? I think the Mustang is saying the same thing, you know, that kind of thing. So yeah, so hopefully that was helpful. I think, I guess once I get the final budget in, I can let you guys know you know, what the final budget is, and I can give you guys an update. I'm actually going to turn this project into a full case study where I'm going to actually maybe turn it into like a mini course or something like that and present it a little bit more neatly. But you guys are getting the first look at that. Actually, I did a free workshop where I was doing the budgeting part of it in the very beginning. I did an event, that thing. But anyways, so that's pretty much that. Do you guys have questions about that? I think you asked pretty good questions along the way. I will send you the pitches and the budgets, so that way you guys can have access to them just to review them. I guess, you know, we should, before we close out, let's just talk a little bit about where you guys are at and what's next for you, just so we have an idea of continuity moving forward. I don't know who wants to go first. Like, just kind of give me an update of where you're at and what you're hoping to accomplish for the rest of the year.
I actually have a quick question.
Yeah.
So I think I've heard you say this before, but do you see bigger profit margins in videography? And I feel like videography is just almost like easier. It
is easier because they're like, it's in general, the standards are lower. It's easier for a lot of reasons. There's less moving parts. Even though it can be very different, you're essentially doing the same thing every time, which is show up somewhere, bring a camera, bring sound, bring lights, you know, set up, shoot, that kind of stuff. The commercial world gets more difficult because, you know, just even looking at this commercial, like, look at how many things I had to figure out for this specific product because it's so different, right? Like in terms of the nails and things like that. And then, you know, also in the commercial world, especially with agencies, when they're experienced, they're going to fucking milk you. Like this job, another job I'm doing next week or in 2 weeks is fucking ridiculous. It's a commercial for like 20,000, but they came up with the script. We'll make a tiny bit of money, but this is with the agency where I've done like really big jobs for too, like, you know, like $800,000 jobs and stuff like that. So you know, it's give and take. I'm like, all right, I'll just take care of you guys on this one because it's a client that they want to like grow. And so this client had 20,000 or oh shit, it's not even 20, it's 14 or 24,000. Sorry. They had 24,000 left in their budget on this project. So they were like, let's get a fucking like, you know, Facebook ad commercial out of it. And so they came up with this concept, and you know, it's doable, and we'll make a little bit of money, and you know, at the end of the day, it's not gonna kill me, but you know, they were like trying to like, what is the right word? Take advantage of us in a way, because they wanted like, you know, 6 different versions of the commercial that would require all this different editing and, you know, like all this extra shit that we had to keep negotiating. So yeah, but with videography in general, like you could still be doing like commercial type stuff, but it's usually easier to pull off. The requirements are more simple, and also what it takes to make the client happy is a lot less. So you know, it is easier to deal with, and that's why actually I mean, like there was in the course, there's a case study for the startup that I did a little commercial for them, but you know, they had a $20,000 budget, and I think I made like 13,000 off of that, and I shot for 6 hours, and I didn't do any editing, and I think I spent like a total of like 3 days managing. I mean, if I really added up the time that I put into it, maybe 3 or 4 days. That's fucking awesome. Like I'll take that all day. Like instead of you know, a month of planning and stress and then, you know, all that shit. Like some people love it, some people prefer it. It's different strokes, but for me, I actually that's why in terms of my niche selection, you know, I'm not doing much work pushing for commercial work, to be honest. Like if it comes in, I'll do it, you know, obviously I'll look at it, but when it comes to, like, I always talk to you guys about, like, you have to choose what to do with your time, right? Like for me, I'm going for the more like the startup model, because I want to spend just a day or shooting, and you know, and they're stoked, they loved it, you know, and I'm like, wow, this is actually a really crappy commercial, but you guys love it, so cool. Like life is good, you know, and I made a good amount of money, so, and it's less stressful. So, you know, I want to spend my time working on other stuff I love, like my personal projects and not commercials, movies and stuff like that, and comic books and stuff. So yeah, so I think quote videography, which could still incorporate commercials and brand videos and things like that, is a easier gig in a lot of ways. But you know, as you develop, you're going to keep getting bigger and bigger jobs anyway, so eventually, you know, you will know what it feels like to have this kind of pain,
right?
If you want.
Yeah. Okay, wait, I just have one more question.
Yeah.
You said Artlist, you could get one client that would pay for Artlist for
the year, I think is $500 or something.
500, yeah.
Artlist is music.
Art Grid is video.
Right. But you can, whether, like, I'm pretty sure whatever, Epidemic Sound, they all kind of do the same thing. But you can, just to clarify, you can use those in any ads, basically, whether it's for like social media or.
Exactly. So like, for instance, if you put it on an ad and it goes on YouTube and they hit you with that copyright notice, you just literally send them the registration number and then you're cleared. So Artlist I've tried different ones. I feel like Artlist just has the best variety of selection, and the quality overall is pretty good. And you know, it's unlimited downloads, all that stuff. So I don't know. I use that one.
Just to jump in there as well, I think with Artlist, Epidemic Sound, I don't think you can provide it to a client to then use in their own advertising. I think it's something about, well, at least Artlist does it. You can use it in perpetuity. That's part of their contract. I think it makes it more expensive, but you can basically put that in any work. So I had Epidemic Sound, but I knew I had to switch to Artlist if I wanted to start using it in client videos, because Epidemic, I don't think will let you, just to jump in there.
I also found this really strange one a few weeks ago where it's like Artlist. It has a list of songs that people have composed and you're allowed to use, but it's also a plugin on Premiere Pro and Final Cut where you can set your little markers on your timeline and use those as sync points and tell the AI if you want that song to get more or less dramatic at those points, and just sort of recomposes it as you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. There are also free tracks on YouTube, but the problem is if they change the requirement, then all of a sudden you might be caught.
Yeah, that happened to me once.
It did? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, free. Then after a few months, bam, bam, bam.
Yeah. So, oh, it's a music engine. What?
Yeah, it's cool stuff.
Oh, I gotta check this out. I can't show this to my composer though.
No.
Hey, I found something that's gonna potentially replace you. No, in all seriousness, though, for gigs I don't have a composer. It would be great. So.
Yeah, I think I definitely need to work in something AI, because that's where, like, I keep finding software like that, and that's just what I spend my free time looking into. So
Yeah, I mean, then explore that. You know, AI is definitely part of the future, so it does not hurt to learn. You know, what I learned is any emerging technology, if you have a passion for it and you're willing to put the time into it, then it will actually create opportunities that dovetail into your business. You know what I mean? Like I know people that were really into 360 video early, and then they ended up becoming like 360 production companies and like the go-to people for that kind of thing, you know? Like, so especially this day and age, there's always emerging technologies and platforms and things like that. So it really does benefit you to expand your knowledge base into other areas. Like that's why, like, for instance, for me, like expanding my knowledge into like marketing, like social media and paid advertising and all that stuff has helped my business. So in general, you just want to add more verticals into your knowledge base. It'll just help you, you know. Cool. So I don't know. Does Luke, you want to talk about where you're at and where you want to go?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so currently I've done 3 free shoots for a charity. I've spoken to them and they have a budget. I mentioned this before, Henry. So they're looking to have a bit of work throughout the year, which is good. So that's something consistent. I've spoken to 2 more people. One's in the real estate industry and another one's in, what does he do? It's like legal, I guess, but he's starting up a big company and he wants some promotional things. So they're 2 potentially paid gigs that are coming up. I guess my biggest challenge at the moment is figuring out the best way to prospect or advertise myself as a generalist. So I'm just trying to work out the best way forward to get as many clients as frequently as I can without currently being in a niche. So yeah.
So what I've learned is to, in terms of being a generalist, focus on creating your values statement and then using that to find clients with like similar values, right? Mm-hmm. So let me find one that shares that kind of illustrates that. Okay, so this is another person I'm mentoring. So he's focused on nonprofits, but he also didn't know, like, well, what kind of nonprofits do I want to work with? There's so many different industries in nonprofits. So so he's focused on just applying his values, which is here. This is actually not bad. Actually, I think I have an even better example. Hold on, let me find that one for you. There's another one. But in general, like, for instance, like if you want to work with companies that care about the future, about the environment, about, you know, sustainability, or you want people that are lifestyle based, you know, dynamic, I don't know, fun, whatever it is, like you really need to sit down and actually do an exercise in terms of thinking about what is your, you know, your values as a company, because you know, the more that you could express your values, the better that you're going to be able to find clients who have a similar like mindset, you know.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
that actually helps narrow down who you're reaching out to, because even though you're generalist, you could pick stuff and you can say, oh well, hey, you know, I'm going to find clients that work in a certain field, like certain type of attitude and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Let's see, where is, there we go. So here's one I actually really like. So this is another group that I'm coaching, and so they have the same exact thing where like they're general, they don't know exactly what they want to do. They just know they wanted to do like kind of artistic, you know, maybe documentary type projects, but you know, they did a lot of work in the education industry, and they didn't want to stay in there, but they want to kind of go into areas that have some similar values. So what I did was I had them just write like, what is their value statement for their company, and they did it independently of each other, and there was actually some similarities, which was interesting to see. So basically for Phil, he said, you know, we bridge creativity with strategy. So creativity and strategy is like really important for him, right? Like with our clients, we work as a team through all stages of the creative process, from conception, strategic direction, making sure that the message meets the market, right? And then Jay says that we take our partners on a journey from discovery to results. We start with your objectives and develop creative concepts. So they're both kind of more strategically thinking, right? It's not just about, oh, we're going to show up and film a video for you. It's like, hey, we want to have an integrated approach where we want to like really think about your actual marketing and like help you close it out. So now they're positioning themselves more as like an agency, you know what I mean? More than just like a production house. So so you can make your values more personal to you, whatever you think. And but in the end, you're still going to want to find a couple niches to potentially reach out to.
Yeah.
By the way, these are actually samples of mission statements from other production companies that are pretty good. So I'll send that to you guys too. But I do think, you know, you're gonna have to figure out what your values are, and then still just come up with like, you know, one way you could do it is you could look up businesses based on Google Maps and find like businesses or Yelp or businesses in your area, right? And then start whittling them down based on the values of those companies and seeing like, okay, well, this one sells like radioactive waste, so let's not do a commercial for them. And
okay.
You know, this one has puppies and kittens, so let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that sort of ties into my follow-up question, and maybe the other guys here could chime in as well if anyone's got any ideas in terms of the practical side of prospecting, like which platforms to be going on. So I can Google. The challenge is because I'm not looking for specific niches, it's hard to Google a specific field.
I think your niche, to be honest, is local. You should make your niche your area. So just go by like what's within a 20-mile radius. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then that way you at least, because there's still a lot of companies within that radius, right? So that gives you a lot to work with, but with some boundaries. So I would just make that my niche if I were you for now.
Cool, that works.
Yeah, and just bouncing off of that too, honestly, I find Facebook for the local market. You'll find a lot of different things on there. At least in my area, a lot of people like to post on Facebook just saying, hey, we're looking for a videographer for this event, and send them prices and stuff and have some meetings with them. But just know through Facebook, at least in my experience, sometimes if they don't like the number, instead of negotiating with you, they just ghost you.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, that could happen, but it's also part of the game too. So
yeah.
The other thing, Luke, what I would do, and actually for anybody, is make a list of all the places where people put up job postings in your area. So that's going to be, for me, that's like Craigslist, Facebook. You can start an Upwork account. You could start a freelancer account. Like there's different online job boards that you could start putting your profile and portfolio, and then even LinkedIn, and start just combing through it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like for you, like you're in the place where you need to keep building your portfolio, and then you need to start building a client base. And so I think, you know, start local, and then you like the strategy is basically messaging them, showing some enthusiasm for their company, and then asking them like if they have any well, there's a couple strategies you could do. Like you could say, hey, I'm looking for a couple people to do a free video for. And then when you screen them, you could find out if they have a marketing budget, and then that way you might be able to actually still get paid for it. And then, or you can convert them into paid customers, but you want to make sure that they actually have money, you know, or they're just really cool for your reel. If you don't want to do that, then the other way is when you cold outreach, you're just going to have to, you know, learn about their business and then offer some ideas or something that of value to them, and see if you can get their attention.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So in terms of the rest of the year, though, I mean, you have, you know, 7 months essentially. Where do you want to be by the end of the year?
Oh, wow. I hadn't thought about that. I guess I ideally would have liked to have done 2 or 3 projects that are paid. I mean, if I can get to that point already.
I think you can get there.
I think that would be good. Yeah.
Okay, so I think your action items are, you know, write down your vision statement for the year. Like just write it down, even if you just said it, just because the more you write things down, the more your brain starts figuring out how to accomplish it. Mm-hmm. Create your value statements for your company, and then create like a initial hit list of like 20 to 50 companies to just start messaging and reaching out to. Another way to do it, because the other thing is, like, while you guys are developing, you're developing multiple skills at once. You're developing not just your production skills, but really the most important stuff is you're developing your mentality, you're developing your sales skills, your people skills. So especially if your business is local, I would literally start with businesses that you go into often, that you're familiar with, and just tell them what you're working on, and say, hey, like, are you interested, or do you know anybody that might be interested in like a video for like, you know, really discounted or something like that, you know, and just start talking with people, because they're going to start giving you ideas. You're going to start learning how to get them excited, or what is it that their pain points are that you need to address to get them to the next level, that kind of stuff. So I would literally make it part of my routine, if I were you, to just go out and just visit businesses and like bring I guess you could make a business card, but more importantly, I would bring a deck and just have it printed out or something, so you could literally just show people like, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is, you know, my vision and stuff like that. And the more you give people tangible things to look at and kind of dream with you, then the more you can push them towards like supporting you somehow, you know.
Okay, cool.
Luke, also 2 things that might help. A lot of people, for you, if you're generalist and you're looking for like a local area, a lot of people will just Google like a town and then videographer if they're looking for like someone like that. Like I know wedding videography is like that a lot. Like they'll be like, I'm having, you know, a wedding here, so they'll Google that place, wedding videographer or whatever it is. The second thing I was thinking is, if you're doing these free films and you think, and you, like Henry said, you find out that they do have a marketing budget, you can show them like, hey, my day rate is $200. Or like make like a draft, like a really small budget, and say this video would cost you $800, but I'm going to do it for free. And then they at least get an idea of like the value they're receiving. And then if they come back for you for a second time, they at least know kind of like what they're in for, or like, yeah, I don't know. I think it's not necessary, but it might help.
No, that's cool. It's a good idea. Thanks, man.
Cool. Any other questions before we go to the next person?
Oh, only one more. I don't know if we covered this a couple of videos back. Do you, Henry, or anyone have access to a discovery questionnaire? I don't know if it's in some of the documents you've got. Just the kind of list you'd have if you're having a discovery meeting with someone.
It should be in the course. Let me see.
I didn't know if I was just being blind when I couldn't see it, because I'm sure you mentioned it in the past.
I feel like I did, but let me see what I have actually uploaded. Well, I have the customer avatar in the chapter, share, chapter 7 in the bottom. It's not really the same as a discovery though. It's just, it's more of a research.
Yep. I mean, I did sit down and sort of run through questions that I think would be important.
There's some questions, but actually, I think I have an actual. Let me see if I have. While we're talking, let me see if I have. I think I actually made a. Wait, oops, wrong. Oh, I do. Look at me. I should put that in the. Okay, these are actually very, very, very useful questions. Like really useful questions. These are what I would ask pretty much anybody I'm meeting. So why did you start your business? You know, what are your goals for this video? Why do you need it? What are you trying to accomplish? How long will the video be? When do you need it by? Let's open my grammar. Do you have any examples of what you like? This is if they have an actual need for a video and you know that already, right? Some of these questions you're gonna have to work into after like, you know, getting to know them. So if you're working into it, then I would say, why do you start your business? What are your business goals for this quarter, year? What kind of marketing are you doing, if any? Do you have a marketing budget? What has worked for you? Do you know what your competitors are doing? You know, what would an ideal results be from a marketing campaign or video? So that's kind of what I would start with if I was talking with them. Oh yeah, what are your biggest challenges? Okay. Okay, so I will actually download this. Boom. And I'll make sure to send that to you guys as well. I wonder if I can change the course myself. Curriculum. Oh yeah, okay, let me just add it right now. Discovery. All right, discovery questions are now in the course underneath the customer avatar.
Cool. Thank you.
No worries. Cool. Sweet. Any other questions?
No, that's it. Thank you. It's really helpful. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. All right. Who wants to go next? Maybe Neil, since it's late for you probably.
Yeah, sure. Well, just for many other reasons, I've got to get uni out the way, but that last assignment's due about 30 days from now. So once that's done, I'll just assume that I've passed everything like usual and I'll be graduated, and that'll give me until November to hopefully get a recurring client base, because I don't just want to be able to, what do you call, generalist freelance, because I've done that for about 2.5 years. I know how to, it's just bloody painful. Yeah, so yeah, I'd like to niche down by November, and that is my goal. And as you say, if I can do free videos for the right type of people, and then just leverage that to keep working in that field, I should be able to do that a couple times with the 2 or 3 niches that I'm currently working on. And I'll use the fact that I still have access to my uni library to do some like actual industry research that's got like referencing and all that, because why not? Yeah, try not to get distracted by psychology again.
I mean, you're in a good spot because again, you're doing your stuff before you're even out of school, so it's kind of like, okay, I think you are in a good spot, and you're kind of hitting the ground running in a certain way.
In a way, yeah. It'll be nice to go from I do freelance in between uni to I just have time to fully devote to it now.
Right.
Although I also do have to organize housing because of a break-in, so I'm not living here again in a few months.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not been a good April.
Understood. So then, what do you want to accomplish by the end of the year?
Oh, what I'd like to do by the end of the year is, have that reoccurring client base, or at least start to get word of mouth happening, so I'm not always struggling with outreach as much. Like the real goal, earn anything above $40,000 a year, and I'm safe, even after taxes, and that's Australian dollars. So that'll be the hope. But I mean, the ultimate goal for me is to make about 75,000 a year after tax, which means making 100,000 Australian dollars because of tax brackets and margin and whatnot. And own a house in 5 years. Because statistically, 47% of my generation are going to end up dying with a house. The rest of us are not, and I'd like to be one of the 47%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea. I mean, to get a steady income, what you have to really focus on is steady income means that you're having steady prospecting and steady referrals and steady sales. So like when it comes to like dividing up your energy, like what are you going to do? Like really you should be putting less time in like becoming a better filmmaker and more time into becoming a better salesperson in terms of better marketing, better soft skills, like and so I would really like, when you're thinking about when you're going through the day and you're trying to figure out what to search on YouTube or to Google about things that you're going to learn, like really make sure those search terms are focused on sales and marketing and things like that, because that's going to be the lifeblood of your company, because it's a totally different goal from saying I want to have like 2 or 3 paid videos by the end of the year versus I want a specific numerical income by the end of the year, right? Because then now you got to say, okay, well, if you did in reverse, like how much are you charging per like what's the most you charge for a project right now?
So the most I've ever charged is 1,500, and then it went 3 weeks into overtime, and the client's been extremely ungrateful even now. 2 weeks after I said, all right, we've got 5 more days and then I'm not giving you any more free time, and he's still, so that was a mess. But I'm glad to be out of it.
Yeah, that's good that you're out of it. But so let's just imagine like, let's do 70,000 divided by 1,500. That means you need 46 jobs of that rate by the end of the year.
Well, I actually redid the budget on how much I ended up spending on this client just so I could, figure out what I need to do better next time, what I need to add to my contracts and quotes. Should have charged him $8,000 for the 5 weeks I spent on him.
I believe it. So basically, you also need to increase your rates. So if you want to make 70K a year, you should be charging between 3,500 to 5,000 starting for a video. Like that's your base rate. So then that means that you should also, like, when you're prospecting, you have to start, like, the key to getting higher rates is you have to start learning to prospect clients that have bigger budgets and that are more willing to be happy to pay it, right? So that might start affecting what industries you go into, right? Because like the music industry is not going to pay you shit, right? But like, a startup will have like a ton of money, right? So maybe that's the way you're going to end up going, right? So you have to really figure out what it is that that the clients that are going to pay you. Like, for instance, when I tested out the real estate niche, I found out that fucking realtors are cheap as fuck, and so I just ended up not wanting to stay in it because it just didn't seem worth it to me, so I got out of it. And when I looked at the clients that were, or the companies that were actually doing really well with the real estate niche, like, they were like working their ass off and just turning out videos, and their business model was more like they had to have a bunch of freelancers that they had to manage. They got to constantly send them out. It's like a lot of high maintenance for like smaller, it's like higher volume and smaller pay. And that's like the exact opposite of what I wanted to do with my time. So I was like, fuck this niche, And so
I don't want to be a McDonald's model. I prefer to have 1 or 2 projects a month and actually make them good.
Exactly. So I think you just have to learn. Everybody here is going to have their own preferred way of living, like their lifestyle of their work. So you have to mold your outreach to the clients that allow you to live that lifestyle. Like some people, for instance, they might love, let's just say, for example, let's say you love outdoor stuff, but you want to make like $200,000 a year. It's like, maybe the outdoor stuff, you just do it for your own passion projects, and then the actual paid stuff is something else. Not that I'm saying you can't make good money in the outdoor field, I'm just using it as an example, but the point is, like, what you love to do in terms of your hobbies and what is going to pay you aren't always the same. And so that's why you have to like go out there and start knocking on doors and getting that research and figuring out like what it is that people what they are going to potentially pay you.
Oh yeah, I'm not aiming for a high number because I'm gonna spend like a bloody lotto winner retard. It's more just I've been homeless. I don't want that to happen again. So I'd like to put aside like 50 to 70% of my income a year just for emergencies.
Yeah, and that's great. That's a great pun not intended. That's a noble cause. So
I've heard it before.
Yeah, I'm sure you have. I was gonna say I just realized your last name while I was about to say that. But I think that's actually great motivation, and you should always remember that, and so like, just like
forget.
I'm sure you won't forget. I mean, no, just like for me, like I freaking ate peanut butter for lunch when I was broke and struggling, and I never forgot that shit. I'm like, I'm never fucking going back to this, like I just don't want to. And so that gets me out of bed, that like when I'm feeling a little bit lazy and I'm like, you know what, I should just send that proposal right now, because the sooner I send it, the sooner I can actually negotiate, like it'll help prioritize your actions. But Yeah. So again, I think for you, it's really developing. I would actually make an education roadmap for this next 6 months, which is really focused on sales and charging higher rates. So I would even like YouTube's or Google search stuff like, you know, how to increase your rates, how to get higher paying clients, you know, all that kind of stuff to help you kind of wrap your head around that. Because you know, you might get it in advice from different niches or industries, but a lot of those principles are going to be applicable to you. So if somebody's done it before and they're telling you like how to do it, then it's going to be like something that you can learn from, you know.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Cool.
And there's always I've always also got the backup plan to just set up a photography studio, because I've got lots of actor friends from when I was in short films more, and there's always like $200, $300 packages, but I only get 10 images at the end, and they're only in your house for an hour.
Yeah,
it's not that much work.
That could even be a side business that you just do while you're building your business, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay. Well, the idea of just more research for 6 months while actively trying to do some of it, I like that. I don't really have any questions, but thank you very much, Henry.
No worries. Yeah, I mean, I think of it as a lifelong journey of learning and improving your skills. And you're just like, as you're getting through different phases, you're changing what skills you need to focus on for that moment, you know? So for now, for you, it's like the top priority is sales and developing those skills. So great. Who wants to go next?
I can go.
Okay. Jump on
it. Yeah. Sorry, I don't know what's the first. What's like the.
What are your plans for the? What are your goals for the rest of the year?
Right.
And where you're at right now.
Exactly. Rest of the year, I would say. You know, I would say if I can make like 10, 15K until the end of the year, it would be a win. And right now, that's it's a whole universe of topics. But you know, right now, to be honest, right now, I'm in the position where I would love to just get one client. You know what I mean? Well, this last month I got some like editing gigs and stuff, and actually the rope around my neck loosened a bit.
Okay.
But it would be great just to get like a couple clients, like, you know, of even low volume, let's say. So,
but you seem like you've been doing good work. What is your biggest roadblock for getting new clients?
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's getting, well, lately, since this apocalypse happened in our society, it's been a lot of stuff. Not only external, but also the just the economies of the place around me and stuff like that. But also internally, you know, I've been you know, thinking a lot and stuff like that. But before that, I don't know. I just I think also the main one is I jump a lot. I focus on a lot of things at all the time. I think those are the main things. I don't know.
Like different projects that don't have to do with your main thing.
Yes.
Like passion projects, or what do you mean? Like, what are you?
Also passion projects, and even within, let's just say, the videography business. I also like I took before when I was building the thing, I was like, oh, I'm doing this real estate niche, which by the way, while we were doing this challenge, I thought I should just go back to it because like you said, the rentals, they're cheap, that's for sure, and this and that. But I have like a email list. I have an ebook I
I
wrote.
mean, if you have the base,
Yeah, I think I might as
wanted
well
to.
just and now people are buying a little bit more. Now in summer here, I live. It's kind of touristic. It's people come here a lot in the summer, and retirees buy a lot of houses in the summer and stuff like that. So going there, but I was saying, so an example, for example, I was doing this real estate, and then I would change the real estate. I would go back to my general one, and then the general one. Okay, now I need to another sub niche here on the general one after all, and then jumping, and then now I'm gonna send this email. Oh, the email didn't work. Let me try and knock on doors. Oh, I think that's a big one. I don't know.
I mean, I have problems focusing myself too, and it was a long time battle. But to be honest, like even if it hurts, you have to learn to start cutting shit out, because to be successful in business, you really have to put a lot of like concentrated energy in one direction. So when you're like doing like this at one time, it's really hard to go further. You know what I mean? So like, have you heard of the Warren Buffett list method?
Yeah, I have the 3 things.
Have you tried it?
I have. And right now, again, this last year and a half has been a bit particular. A lot of variables are in play at play. But before that, I have. And right now, I must say, there's the videography business, and I just have one other thing. Like I'm writing a book. Other than that, that's so I'm at the 2-3 things. Warren Buffett style.
So wait, so you've reached the 2 or 3 things, but you're still overly committed, or what?
No, at this point, I'm just doing the videography and the books movie script. So at this point, I've reached the 3 things, but I've just got here. But still, at the videography thing, it's still a bit. I'm gonna pick up the real estate. I also had a music video niche that I built the whole thing, the website, blah 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 blah. And my general one, which now I'm also thinking I'm going to focus a lot on products, because I was thinking a lot, and I think products give some sort of insurance.
But here's the thing I want to point out to you.
Yes.
When you pick 3 different niches, those are actually already 3 things. So you have 3 things plus 3 niches. You're actually doing 6 things. That's why it's hard for you to actually get something done. You know what I mean? Because
please go ahead.
Yeah, so to really get progress, you need to hone in on 1 or max 2 niches, and even then do like an 80-20 where you're really putting 80% into one, and really go through the steps, like especially in the challenge, like you literally just go through the steps of the prospecting, the sales and stuff, until you've exhausted it and you've really found out like if it's valuable for you or not, or if it's working or not. I just think that you have to really keep you have to value your time as if you have 1 week to live. You know what I mean? Like you really have to value your time. Like if I was going to die, I know Steve Jobs would ask himself that. And as I've gotten older, I started really thinking about that. I'm like looking at people and how their lives just slip through their fingers like fucking sand, and it's like, when you're in the moment, it's easy to lose perspective, but like if you don't treat every day like as that chance to do like that one thing you really need to do or want to do, then it's going to become harder to add that up into something that's successful. So I don't know, have you tried auditing your time, like keeping track for like a week of like what you do?
In loosely, like
I mean, I had somebody do this exercise and it really helped them a lot, which is like just for 1 week, put either your phone on, your notepad or whatever, or, on an actual little notebook or something, like throughout the day, like every couple hours, you just literally write down what did you do down to like 15-minute chunks and audit yourself, because especially for people like us who are, kind of can tend to start to do lots of little things, like you're going to be really shocked, like, how you spend your time. You might find that on average during the week, you're spending like 2, 3, 4 hours a day, like on stuff that has nothing to do with your business,
Mm.
If you can't say concretely, that means you need to do the audit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I would honestly make that your first action item, is start Googling like focus and time management. They have great books on focus. There's literally a book called Focus that, you might want to look at. There's also,
I've looked into it. I read the Blinkist. But just to be clear, it was a bit loose, but at one point I did track it quite well also with the Pomodoro, you know what I mean? And each Pomodoro I would write, okay. And then at the end of the week, I would watch it back and stuff. And, but what I'm thinking then and let me tell me if I'm getting this right from it. So I should just focus on the general thing now. And instead of having all those niches, for example, just go with the general one.
I mean, I feel like because of your market, it might benefit you better if you just say that my market is local and that's your generalist, and then you can still show real estate, you can still show products. It'll actually make it easier for you to present all of it in one space, instead of trying to be like, here's like all the different pages or here's all the different websites. Because when you're in a smaller market, it's going to take longer to build up a specific niche, I think. If you're not putting like every second of your day into it, then it's going to be harder to develop a specific niche. I think you need to go into like actual, like localized market,
And I was thinking, as I go and as I get more clients, then I can use that to like branch niche out kind of thing, right?
Correct.
Further down the thing.
Yeah, I mean, what happens is, like, as you work, because this is what happened with me too as a generalist, is, I start off just doing whatever, right? But over time, your market starts to reveal itself to you, because for me, being in the Silicon Valley area, like naturally, most of my clients started becoming tech companies, right? Like small tech companies at first. And then eventually, like, I realized, oh, well, actually I have enough work where I can just make this like my thing and really focus on it, So I would probably say make a generalist site, put all your work on there. Again, do similar to Luke, actually, is like put your values down, make sure that it's clear, and then start just going after companies that have some values that you share that make sense for you, and just fucking go after them,
Okay. Yeah, and yeah. Do you have a favorite method of going after?
I mean, I always start with the lower hanging fruit, which is like, who do I know? So I would make a list of all the people I know, and then say, oh, okay, who do I know that might have a referral or a business or something that I can.
Yeah, I don't know anyone. I just know musicians and people.
Yeah, so if you don't know anyone, that's why I hesitated, because it's harder if you don't know somebody. Honestly, like, it sounds like basic, but nothing is going to replace like literally just going out talking to people like every day, like reaching out to people on LinkedIn, like going out to businesses, like just like it's a numbers game, dude. Like if you want to get business, you have to go out. Like how many businesses did you talk to last week?
0.
Exactly. So you have 0 leads. So you might need to talk to 20 people in a week before you get a solid lead,
Yeah. And can I ask you just,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, were you done?
Yeah. I was just saying, that's just the hard reality of it. So I would probably, for you, I would start researching like just how to cold outreach, how to talk to people, how to build a relationship, and just literally make a list and a hit list, just like I said with Luke, and just start going after them,
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your question?
Yeah, because well, true, last week I did zero stuff, but at some points in my life I did some outreach, right? Email mainly, which I think screwed up the domain as well. And stuff like that. And I was wondering if you have seen through your experience, like, I don't know, because I don't know how come I haven't gotten, because I did try a lot outreach at some point, and I didn't, the return was so minimal that I'm wondering, and I don't know why. And, I studied a bit, I thought about it, I was very careful.
Well, I mean, like, it takes a lot. I mean, the thing is, cold outreach is an art in itself, and it takes like actual development in terms of like really constantly testing. And I mean, it could take longer than you want. You know what I mean? I think maybe if you want, why don't you send me like what some of the way you've been reaching out to people, so we could maybe diagnose it a little bit, because I guarantee you, if you're just reaching out to people saying, hey, I'm a local business, I do videos, do you need videos? Like, you're probably not going to get responses from that. You know what I mean? It's got to be more like, hey, I love your business because of this. I checked out your website and I noticed you're missing that. I was wondering, based on your goals, like, what have you done? I see some of your competitors are doing this. Like, you have to start getting as specific and personal as possible to get people excited about talking to you. You know what I mean? So when you just message, like, if you've ever hit that copy paste, you're basically guaranteeing that you're not going to get a response in that early stage. You know what I mean? Like, the only thing I'll copy and paste if I'm reaching out to somebody is like the last part, like the call to action. Like, hey, if you're interested, like, reach out to me or whatever. Otherwise, like, the body of it, and especially the intro and stuff, needs to be handwritten. Because what I notice is, like, even when you craft this like thing that you're going to copy and paste and you think it's fucking beautiful and natural and all this stuff, for some reason, after you've copy and pasted 20 times, like, it just becomes another message that everybody's getting. Like, it doesn't, I think there's some energy that goes into it that people could tell. Like, it just, I don't know, that's just my experience. So I just think, like, being as personal as possible and as clear as possible is like really the most important thing,
All right.
So, but I think you need probably more help. So just, send me some of the stuff you've been outreaching so I could take a look at it and give you some pointers on what you might be needing some, adjustments for.
All right. I'll outreach every day this week to reset the thing, and I'll reach out to you then.
Okay, good.
All right.
Sounds good.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next?
I can go.
Okay, go for it.
What's up? So I feel like we kind of spoke about this recently. I'm kind of still in the similar stage because I've been kind of busy with some other stuff. Like my parents were visiting and stuff, so I kind of put some things on hold. But yeah, basically, so I'm kind of just finishing up my like portfolio work. I did a free video for a ski guiding company. I have now like sent that back to them, and he was like really stoked on it. And like, I didn't even think it was that good, but he was like really stoked.
See?
And
Yeah.
he was like, thank you so much. Like, offering.
By the way, don't ever tell him you don't think it's good.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. I used to do that. I used to be like, it's not the best. It's like, well, why are you showing it to me if it's not, if you don't, anyway.
Yeah, don't downplay it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, continue. Yeah.
But yeah, he was super stoked, and that got me, like, he was saying some really nice things. Like, basically, he's a really important guy to know, basically, because in my ski community in that town, this company is probably like the best guiding company, and like movies get like filmed with his guides, basically. So he's like a really good person to know, and that's why I offered it for free. And he's like, if I need any work done next year, I'm gonna hit you up. And like, if you ever need like a referral, a testimonial, etc., like I'm happy to help, basically. Because he knows I put in a ton of work for him. I did like 4 days filming and like more days editing, whatever. But I wanted to finish that so I could put it on my website. And right now I haven't started my cold outreach. And just listening, I guess I'm kind of in a similar stage as Neil, because I'm basically like I've done generalist stuff and I'm now redefining my niche and kind of like targeting a niche. And I'm also like Neil in the sense that like I have dollar values that like I want to achieve per year. It's different because I'm Canadian dollar, but like in 3 years, if I would like to be making like over 100K a year. I know that like won't come, 6-figure income. Basically, it won't come obviously in my first year, but like I'm trying to build up the foundation right now. But the advice you gave to Neil that I really appreciated was, and I think is relatable to me, is basically that comes from your outreach. And like I have not been outreaching to clients in the past, whatever, 8 months really. And that's why I don't have clients right now.
Yeah.
And actually I have like, for the people, like I've maybe sent 10 emails out, asking to do a video for, and like pretty much every single time it's been a yes. Like I'm at like an 80 percentile yes. Maybe because they've
You're in
been
a great niche then.
Yeah, I mean, maybe because they're super strategic, but like I asked to film with a high-end production company and they fully took me on. And like that was pretty cool to work on like a full ski movie this winter, and I like met all these pros. The camera passport, I was telling you about that earlier. But
would you be willing to share that with the group, maybe, like in terms of sharing what you've been saying and what the process has been like, and maybe put together some screenshots just to
can I, what, like I actually haven't even looked at that email. That was, let me just see.
And while you're looking that up, I mean, the whiteboard here that I'm showing you is, prospecting. Not everybody has a high rate like that, right? Like that's a pretty abnormal rate. So, these numbers aren't exact, but this is kind of how it works, right? This is why the prospecting part is the most important part of your entire sales process. Like literally is the most important part. Until you guys are at the point where you have a reputation and a portfolio and a network and people are referring you business and stuff like that, you have to do this. If you don't do this, you will never get to here, because it works in this flow, right? It doesn't go the opposite way. You don't prospect one person and it turns into 2 clients and then, or 2 conversations and then 3 deals. And you see what I'm saying? Like it works this way. So you have to, the more you do this, the more bigger that this gets in terms of how many people you talk to, the more people that seem like a good fit that you could send a proposal to, the more people that close. You know what I mean? And then the beauty of it is that the more that you do this, right, it actually ends up, when you get to the talking phase, you're more comfortable. And the more people you talk to, the more comfortable you're proposing to that. And then the more people you close. It all works hand in hand, but really, like this truly is the most important thing is prospecting. It's the lifeblood of your entire company. So,
right.
When I was restarting in the real estate niche, that's all I was doing was prospecting, because I didn't have any referrals in that, because I had no work, I had no portfolio. I wouldn't have gotten any jobs if I didn't do this. Anyway, I just want to show you that.
So so I found some emails. I think I can share my screen, but maybe I'll keep talking just about my situation quick and then go on to that. So basically, I'm in this phase where I'm trying to finish up like the groundwork of my business, where, I am finishing my website. I want to get some business cards. you know, creating my top 100 list, and, you know, even legal stuff. Like I'm just getting my, you know, tax number coming in. I got my business license and stuff, but it's all a learning curve, right? So I don't really know what I'm doing just yet. But because I'm working with businesses, I need to, you know, be more professional
Mhm.
regardless. And then kind of I'm going to start my outreach basically. And I'm basically hoping by the end of, you know, 4 months from now, I'm moving, and I'm like, I have a part-time job right now, and then I'm leaving my part-time job. And hopefully by then I can have enough income or clientele that I can keep it on full time basically and keep up with it. Um, and I also like your advice. Like the reality is like, I just need to charge more too. And like, I think my
Charge more.
production value is there. Like I've been making videos for so long. It's not, you know, I'm not like the world's best editor or anything, but like I'm also realizing the value of video, and it takes a lot, even if it's a
Takes a lot of
simple
work,
video.
man.
Yeah.
So there's a little trick that I teach people to double your rates. And the way that it works is you just quote your double rate the next time you talk to somebody.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary. You just have to trust me on it. But so many people have told me like it works, because you just literally, because most of us are starting at too low anyways, is what it
Yeah.
is, right? Like you have to double your rates until you get to that rate which is fair enough, and then yes, just charge more. And then what'll happen is at some point you will cap out where like the customers you're talking to, like you just can't double anymore, and you're going to have to find like new types of customers or higher quality customers, but especially at the level you're at. So what I would say for you to focus on in the next 3-4 months is every single person you work with, you need to turn them into, actually this goes for everybody, you need to turn them into testimonials and case studies so that you can actually level up your rates and justify leveling up your rates easier, and then create a better presentation for yourself. Because like, for instance, you said you're already working with somebody that's really respected, right? So you need them saying on video, or at the very least a fucking quote from an email or response or something, like their experience working with you, because that is going to sell you to other people who believe in them, right? So now you won't have to do that work. You won't have to do, as your prospecting becomes so much easier, because you're like, hey, you're an outdoors company, I just worked with this company and we did this project, and you know, I saw your company, I thought it'd be cool to do something for you. And they're going to look at that and they're going to see, oh wow, like if he was hired by this other company I respect, obviously he must be worth something, right? Because that's how the psychology of social proof works. So you always have to get, especially when you're building up, like that's something I didn't do that I regret, is I never cared, I never knew the value of testimonials and case studies and stuff, so I just never asked for them. And the thing is, the longer you wait, the harder it is to get them. So you have to tell them before you shoot, hey, when we're done, if you're happy, I'm going to want a testimonial. And then as soon as you're closing it, before you even deliver the final product, be like, hey, by the way, if you're happy with this, I'd like to, you know, figure out when, you know, I just need you to answer these 3 questions. You can shoot on your iPhone or whatever. Or if you can't even do that, just write an email what you think about my work, and then you just fucking keep getting on them until they give it to you. But that's, you know, what I learned is if you let months go past, even if they're fucking were happy with your work, they're just going to be already moving on to the next thing in their head, and they're not going to care as much, you know.
That's a
Unless
good
they're really cool.
Because he offered the testimonial, and then he's been, I guess, too busy, but he hasn't answered me since saying that. So I think, and I was gonna follow up with him, but I was like, oh, I'll give him time, but I feel like I shouldn't give him that much time.
No, don't give them too much time. Just, I mean,
Yeah.
you don't want to be crazy, but use like
Well, also I sent him like other deliverables, like other Instagram stuff in that thing, so I can like follow up about, did you receive this? I have to
Exactly.
take them down from Google Drive, blah blah blah, and then also, did you have time for a testimonial, kind of thing.
Right. Just say, look, I know you're busy. Like, acknowledge their situation actually helps a lot, because then it makes them know that you care, and also might make them feel a little guilty. And then just acknowledge this. Like, look, I know you're busy, but this is really important to me because I'm building my business. I really need your help. And then you could even add like a little bit of a timer, like, hey, I'm going to start reaching out to some potential clients like next week, and I really could use like just a 30-second video from you or a minute video from you. Can you just shoot that over, or I'll fucking show up at your place with a camera and, you know, whatever it is, like give them options, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Um,
you want to share some of your emails?
yeah, we can do that
It's okay.
basically. I've never shared screen, so we'll see what happens. Google Chrome, let's go with this. One sec, I just have to open up system preferences.
Oh yeah, you're on Apple.
Yeah. It says I won't be able to record it.
That's okay, I guess.
Is that, I don't think it's sharing, is it?
No. Let me here, let me try doing this.
Oh, is that working?
Oh yeah, it's working. Yeah.
Okay. So this was like so basically Blank Collective Films is also the reason why I think I was successful was because like these were strategic outreaches where I had like some network in
That's
basically.
great. Low hanging fruit. You got to start there if you can.
Yeah. So Blank Collective Films is kind of like a new ski film company. Like they literally make like movies and premiere them every winter. And they've made a bunch of films. And I used to be like at my university, I was like the ski and snowboard like leader, like the group leader, and I would organize like movie premieres, and Blank Collective we always worked with. So I never met him, but like I would email this guy before. So I said, hey, Alexi, I'm not sure if you remember me. My name's Hondro. Last year we were in contact and I helped with the premiere. I've now graduated. I'm like, and I'll be, you know, skiing in Revelstoke this year. Over the years, you know, I've basically developed a love for camera work and I'm doing my best to like break into the ski film industry. I have a dream one day my films will be like, you know, motivating the world. And this year I'm going to be living out of a camper so I can travel around. I kind of just put that in there because of like COVID and everything.
Mm-hmm.
This winter, I'm working hard to connect with new athletes and gain valuable experiences in a more professional atmosphere. I've experienced following and filming with athletes, and I kind of threw in some social proof. Like I've basically worked with my friends. Like my friends are like skiers, and they're not like, you know, getting, you know, free jackets or whatever. They're not
Sure.
like really sponsored, but you know, just said like they're
Social
on the
proof. Yeah.
exactly peak performance. And you know, I basically tried to tell them that I'm a good enough skier to keep up too, because that also like matters, right? They can't have a skier who's like falling all over the place.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
And then I just said I want to reintroduce myself. I'm seeking out an opportunity to like help film or take photos of any athletes. If you know you ever have anything where I could help out, if you like need a last minute extra shooter, like I'd love to chat about how I can contribute. And then I basically drop some of my work. Yeah, then like basically that was basically it. Like this is who I am. Like if I'm here to help, basically, like if you need anyone, and like, you know, like I love what you guys do and I'm really trying to do the same thing, basically. Kind of like a value match, I guess you could say.
Absolutely.
And then he was like, thanks for the email. We're always glad to and open to new shooters, and definitely would be interested in chatting. Do you have a full production crew? Or like we do have a production crew, opportunity to hop on a local shoot. What gear do you have? And the funny thing is like I don't have good gear. Like I have a small mirrorless camera, you know, like they you know, when I you know, it's all kind of bullshit from here, to be honest, because we talked about like he basically said, do you want to become an intern?
Yeah.
Like, and a big thing in skiing is like, do you have a snowmobile? Because you can get to like more areas. Like if I had a snowmobile, I probably would have filmed with them a lot more, to be honest. But it was a super rad experience. So basically what happened was we were like in this limbo area. They didn't really chat with me. Like I followed up twice here, so, like stuff like that. And then randomly he's just like, hey bud, like sorry for the late reply. What's your status right now? Like we have an opportunity for you. And I called him and he's like, in 3 days, we're going to a backcountry hut for 10 days. We'll fly you in via helicopter. We're going to film for 10 days. And I was like, holy shit, like, yeah, I'm down. and literally it was all pro skiers. Like there was
Wow.
me, a filmer, a photographer, and 7 pro skiers. Like these are all guys that are like, you know, world class. Like you
Top
can
level.
Google-
That's
yeah,
awesome, dude. That's like a dream come true type thing. So one thing I'll say is if you build the right connection, which you did, being persistent pays, because a lot, like I actually have gone through this myself on the other side where, you know, somebody will reach out to me, we'll make a connection, I get really busy, and then all of a sudden I need somebody and then I remember them, right?
Mhm.
Or they reach back out to me right when I do need somebody and then I'm ready to answer, right? So being persistent. But let's scroll up to the top because I just want to show everybody like psychologically why this is a great email. This is actually a really great email. So first of all, you're personalizing the first sentence, right? I don't know if you remember me, but you know, last year we were in contact, right? So it's like, what is the connection? If you could make any, this is why networking and showing up and meeting people is so valuable, because even if you don't do any deal talking, proposals or anything, just what them knowing that they met you is like already like a huge in a lot of cases. So that's why, like, for instance, if I were to approach a local business, I would actually say like, hey, I'm a customer here, or hey, I support your business, or I do this. Like, find that connection, right?
yeah,
So that's number one. And then so number two is like, you talk about what your dream is, like what you're doing, right? And this is how you tell people why you should care, they should care about you. Because again, people that are good people want to support other good people, and knowing what your dream is helps them know why they should care, versus people tend to cold outreach and they just go right into what they do and hire them for it, right? That's what I get in LinkedIn all the time, is like, hey Henry, nice to connect with you, I'm a marketing manager at this company. It's like, okay, well, are you also a human being? Like what do you do? Like, why are you doing this? Like, finding that personal touch is really important, because in the end, this email is a story you're telling, right? And you want to tell a story that's going to get people to be interested step by step, right? And then you talk about your social proof, about what you've done, which is great. So your experience. And I think the last part, which is really, really, really important, what I want to point out to you guys, is that a lot of times you will get a no if you try to go for a hard sale, which is, you know, buy my product, schedule a call with me or whatever. You need to give them a little bit more latitude to think how they could work with you, and then have the freedom to say yes or no, or like think about it, right? So what you're saying here, which is fantastic, is just saying, look, if you have opportunities, I'd be interested in helping out. If you ever need support, extra shooter, I'd love to chat about how to contribute. So you're just basically signaling to them like, look, I'm an open book. I'm just here. This is my work. You can see who I am now. And I'm here to help you, like, in any way that you might need. And so that makes them comfortable to approach you in the way that they need. Like, the problem is when you cold message people and you're trying to direct them towards a specific action, like only one action, then most of the time it's going to be a no, because like that might not be what they need, right? So for you guys, like especially like Luke or Neil or Vasco or whatever, or Josh, like if you are cold outreaching to people that you've never talked to before, you can still use this exact format, because what you're going to say is, hey, I picked your business because of this, or I read this article with you and I thought this was great, or I learned this thing from you, or I know somebody that works, blah, whatever the connection is. Find a fucking connection. And then before you go into anything about your business, just talk a little bit about your goals and your dreams, and say, hey, I, like, for instance, when I was doing the real estate thing, I was messaging people. I was literally saying, you know, I have a commercial production company, but I have a passion for the real estate industry, and I want to become one of the top real estate, you know, producers. And I'm just starting out though, you know, but I'm letting them know like who I am and what I care about. And then the social proof, which is if you have any portfolio, any work, that's great. And then again, an open-ended call to action, which is just, hey, if there's any way. Now, if you're approaching a business that you're cold outreaching, it might not be, because it's specific. Like Henry's saying, like, hey, you're a production company, I want to help you, I want to be like a production help, right? But If you're approaching a company that you're trying to get business, then the way you would shift that a little bit is saying, hey, like I see that on your social media that, you know, you have some good content, but you need a little bit more. If you ever wanted to talk to somebody about, you know, what kind of content, I have some ideas that could help you, like I'd be totally willing to share that with you for free. Or if you have any marketing campaigns coming up that you need an extra hand, I could do behind the scenes, or I could do like you know, social media content for you, and just offer different things to get their attention. Because what happens is, if you could get on a call with them or you start a conversation, you can always build it up to a bigger project or a bigger deal, right? But you're using like the small thing to get them to buy in. And then once they start, like that's how it happened with that restaurant where I messaged them like, hey, if you want a free video, hit me up. And they're like, we would love a free video. And then after like a discovery call, they were talking about like paying me $10,000 to help them with the marketing, you know what I mean? To advise them on the marketing. And it started with a free offer. But if I had started saying, hey, I do fucking coaching and it costs $10,000 starting, would you be interested in that? They'd be like, no, who the fuck are you? You know what I mean? So it's all about building rapport step by step.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, man. That was super,
Yeah, no
super
worries.
helpful. Does that help you guys a little bit?
Yeah.
Good. So I think that shows that like there's a little bit of an organic approach to that. So great work on that. And
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, like, so this is kind of, I guess, like what I was trying to get at is like with where I'm going is like, I want to make videos, but like, I know that making ski films, you don't really make that much money. Like they had a full-time filmer who's on salary and, you know, he's with them all year, but I know that like the entire film budget is not much more than 100K. So that filmer.
so what you're doing is once you get the portfolio and you've worked with, I mean, because dude, you're gonna have footage of amazing pro skiers everybody recognizes. What you're gonna do is you're gonna flip it and you're gonna start making a list of all the companies that are in the ski industry. So instead of saying, oh, I want to film pro skiers, I'm going to say, I'm going to use my pro skier footage to excite a company that does skis, that does goggles, that does gloves, that does outerwear, that does fucking wax, whatever the fuck it is, like all the products. There's so many products in the industry, and it goes beyond that. It goes services too. Hey, I'm going to hit up these ski lodges. You want to make a commercial? You want to get some customers in? Like we'll do that. Like I think your next action item is make a list of all the actual companies and products and services in your industry that are actually spending money to make money, right? Because they're just straight up businesses, and then start approaching them, because you'll have the cred, because and that's the cool thing about this storytelling is like you continue your journey. So the next email, the cold outreach would be, hey, like I started this, you know, production company in the ski niche because I really love it. I've worked with these companies and these skiers, and now I want to take what I learned and apply it to companies like yours to help them, you know, reach their market better, right? So your story is always evolving from one stage to leading to the next stage, why it's all connected. So
yeah, no, and I'm definitely like even down to like snowmobile companies. Like I'm gonna
dude,
be
snowmobiles. You could do so much dope stuff, like action shots. Like you can do all sorts of cool stuff. So really like getting, and this is also why I try to teach you guys that whole Dream 100 thing is like finding the people that would be really cool to work with that supercharge your portfolio. It gives you that leverage to reach out to other people and then put deals together. You know what I mean? So yeah.
So basically that's like where I'm at is like I'm working on that Dream 100 and then the reach out. The only thing I'm also saying is like I'm actually also in the process of building a YouTube channel. So I'm like really close to being able to monetize that.
Oh, nice.
But that, you know, I know that like YouTube is not a big income source, but it's more just like the personal passion projects. Just like I have fun making videos, and like that's why I want to keep up with that. Also, kind of like if you're gonna die in 1 week thing, like at least it sounds maybe a little bit messed up, but like, you know, if I can put all these fun stories on YouTube, like at least like there's something that's like remembered by me.
No, it's true, man. I mean, you always have to simultaneously think short term and long term, right? So it's like live for today but plan for tomorrow, right? So
Mhm.
it's like, I used to say like, oh, what would you do if you had one day to live? But the problem is you would just go out and do a bunch of crazy shit. Right. So like if you actually had a little more time, like what would you do? You try to contribute to society a little or leave something behind, right? And so I think that's cool. And also your YouTube channel can help you make more money too, because what you could also do is if you're monetized, then you can say, hey, look, I work with top professional skiers, and I know how to build a fucking platform. So if you're a company that needs social media content and commercials, guess what? I have the best of both worlds. I have the production and I have the knowledge. So that's where it goes back to what I was saying, is adding verticals of knowledge, of knowing how to do stuff. So like learning how to build a YouTube channel is actually a super valuable skill that you're going to be able to sell to other people,
Sweet.
Yeah.
I just basically have one last question, and I just want to know if I'm on the right track with this idea. But so I think with the ski film industry, like, it's a slow process, but I'm like becoming on track with that. And you're right, like my story is evolving. I now have, Blank Collective Films, and like this guiding company is Social Proof. But my question is like, I want something that's all year round, and I don't want something that's, oh, I make ski films and then wedding films. Like, if I'm going to dream basically big enough that I can become a filmmaker, like it's kind of to be making films that for the most part I enjoy making, or I believe in the story behind. And what I'm getting at is like, if I'm in the outdoor world, is it transferable between industries? AKA like my niche is like outdoor brands, like in the sense that
outdoor is definitely, I would say for you, you could do outdoors, you could do sports, you can do environment. There's probably a couple others that fit in that realm, but yeah, you could totally convert it, because again, it all goes back to the storytelling leading into the other. So you could say, hey, I fucking dominated this industry and now I'm moving on to the next one. Like that was actually my entire pitch with the real estate stuff, was saying, hey, I've done commercials and I've done tech stuff, and now I'm creating a division for real estate because I'm interested in it, right? And then that became my pitch to people, and it made it easier for people to not care that I'm switching over or I'm expanding my niche, because I'm just telling them like, look, I already did this and I'm moving on. It's just kind of like like when Michael Jordan was like, I'm gonna play baseball now. I already got 3 rings. Didn't work out for him because he wasn't that good at it, but but the point is, it made sense for people, because he was like, I love baseball. I've always wanted to be a baseball player, and then he's finally doing it.
because like eventually down the line it would be like filming outdoor summer content in the summer and then outdoor winter content in the winter, because like where I live is very seasonal basically.
Exactly.
Isn't there sand skiing in Dubai?
Yeah, go to Dubai, dude.
That'll be a big change for
I don't
you.
know if there's an industry there though.
It doesn't, the industry is rich people over there. That's what it is.
That is true.
No, but in all seriousness, like you could do that. Like you could totally, especially because if these are top skiers and like renowned skiers, then that's the kind of stuff that other people look for, where they'll be willing to, people who have a lot of money will be willing to spend the bucks on it. You know what I mean? Like, and there's other creative things you could do. Like I know a guy who he's really smart. What he does is when he wants to go on vacation, and let's say if he wants to get it paid for, he will reach out to companies in the area he's going to go travel and be like, hey, I'm shooting a commercial in your area. Oh wait, no, this is how he does it. So he'll take a local company, like let's say it's a sunglass company, and he'll be like, hey, I'm going to be in Dubai filming. Do you want your commercial to be more international? Like if you just pay me like this smaller amount, like I'll shoot a commercial for you while I'm out there. And then they're like starting to pay for his trip and stuff like that, So so there's a lot of different ways to work it, but once you build a established portfolio in an industry, then you can actually turn that into more of an international, like, because there's different areas that have a similar niche, right? So, but step one is getting that portfolio solid, getting the testimonials solid, and then just really using that to present yourself.
Yeah. I think my biggest thing is just like actually attacking it and not just being like, oh, hope it works out. Like just I think I'll be surprised if I'm like constantly reaching out.
Yeah,
Also.
you do have to attack it. You have to be mechanical about it, and you also have to have no emotion, because like you might have a high rate right now, but your rate might go down, and then
Oh
instead
yeah, like I know I
like you
know
should
it's
expect it to, right? So
yeah,
instead
yeah.
of being like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, what's going wrong? I don't, this sucks. Like just be like, wow, I had a great start. So, I'm just gonna keep going. I promise you guys, it's a numbers game, and it's just about adjusting every 5 to 10 outreach or something like that until you find that sweet spot.
Okay, one last question. What do you think's a good goal or target per week to have for outreaches? Or like if
Like 10 to 20. I mean, obviously, the more the better. But I noticed that you need to go in batches, because you're going to keep refining it anyways, and you don't want to, shoot your shot on every single person all at once, right? So,
yeah.
it benefits to go in like batches of 10 to 20 a week. It's a pretty good amount. Like you'll
Pretty
get
big.
some experience out of that. Some people do even more than that though. I mean, I would say between 10 to 50 if you want to be aggressive.
Cool.
Yeah.
Mm. What was the name of that application you had next to your emails that keeps track of what clients you've outreached to, what stage they're at? I just forgot the name. I can go back to my notes and find it.
HubSpot.
HubSpot.
All right. How do you spell that?
HUB spot.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great way to track, because especially once you start the mass outreach, you do need to know, because
Yeah.
you don't want people responding to you and you're just like, or even sending the same email twice to somebody.
Yeah. Can you create a profile for them like before they even respond to you?
Yeah, once you've sent the email, you can just add them and create a profile immediately.
Yeah, and just write like the company name.
Write a note and say,
note
oh,
for
sent,
yourself.
requested request or sent an introduction, and we'll follow up in 2 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, I need to get on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. These are great questions. Last but definitely not least, Josh, did you have anything?
Yeah, I mean, the latest update on me though is I just stopped working at the real estate company I was working at, technically part-time.
Mhm.
The big deciding factor on that is they are building apartment buildings down in Florida, and they say that they need someone to get all of the media for them, photos, videos, 3D tours, and everything that goes into an apartment website, and even the website they need to create it.
Okay.
They wanted me to do the website all on my own, and there is a lot to do on that. I kept saying like I need help. They kept saying no, and I even pitched to them about the marketing company that I'm building up now, and they said no to that. On that exact day, they called another not production, but like another, I guess, media company, whatever you want to say, and asked them to give them a quote on it all. And I even checked out their website, and their website doesn't even work.
Oh my gosh.
And but that was the deciding factor though, is like
The last
they
straw.
said they didn't want to bring anyone else on, and then they did that right in front of me.
Yeah. See, that's exactly the
Uh,
type of client or person you don't want to work for.
yeah, and like they're spending millions upon millions of dollars to build this down there because it's in West Palm Beach, Florida, which is a more richer area.
Mhm.
But they don't want to spend more than $20,000 on marketing the space.
See that those
But
are the
it
type
doesn't
of
make very
clients
sense.
I hate those kind of clients.
Yeah.
They're
Like they
problem,
penny pinch in the wrong areas, and
yeah, the wrong areas, and also those are the type of people that don't value anything. Like they value nothing. They just value money in their pocket. Like they don't value any of the labor.
yeah,
They don't value the people, like all that shit. So I mean, it's like a bad relationship. It's better to get out, and it's probably better for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Just the way that they were moving into like the type of business they were doing and how they started moving towards their business is something I didn't want to be a part of. So
Yeah.
I got out of there, but I have stuff lined up for myself starting May 30th all the way until November 13th, I think.
Okay.
I have like some weddings that I'm doing. Then there's just some corporate work in there that I'm doing as well.
Okay.
So, I mean, financially speaking, I'm good. And that's why I kind of left the job because it was just like paid my weekly bills and stuff. So,
Okay, that's good. So then what is your goal going to be for the
But-
rest of the year?
uh, the goal that I really have is just financials, is just making 40K for this entire year. And which I'm not really worried that I'm not going to hit that. On the track that things are going. More people are reaching out. I feel like since the vaccines are, at least in the United States, the vaccines are more easily ready available and everything.
Yep.
I feel like people are starting to lighten up and now finally spending money and trying to market themselves a little bit more. So,
It's
but
true.
like I said, though, it's more people are reaching out now. I'm getting more leads. And just more and more people, like I said, are trying to market themselves and makes it kind of easier for me to get work done through that.
So then, I mean, do you feel like your website, everything, your portfolio, you got everything kind of set up in the way that you like?
For the most part, I kind of look at the website and the portfolio is never complete, but with what it's at now is I'm pretty happy with it.
Okay, cool. Then do you have any challenges that you're facing? It sounds like you kind of know what you're doing, but is there anything you need advice on or anything like that?
I don't know, like the biggest thing is when the clients just don't reach back out. So like latest thing was somebody posted on Facebook saying that they needed some videos done in same day delivery. And so the person that I'm working with, this marketing agency with, him and I put together a quote and we went like really below what it should have been to try to get the job. We sent a proposal over to them and we had a meeting lined up at like 4 o'clock for the one day. I called them twice within like 10 minutes of each other and no answer, sent them a text, an email, and no answer whatsoever. But I guess it's more so like when stuff like that happens, like, do you just leave it be and go to the next person?
Yeah, I have a method that what I do is I just double the time that I take to outreach. So, you know, if I follow up in a week, then the next time I'll wait like 2 weeks, and the next time I'll wait like a month, and then I'll check in like in 2 months. Just because like if they're not responding every time, it's like more frequency is not gonna really get the response, right? But each time I respond, I just switch it up a little bit, and you know, always take into account that you never know why they might not be responding. Like I had a client that we just shot a couple weeks ago that I talked with them in fucking November, dude, and like we got to the point where I literally sent them a contract, and he was like, oh, I'm gonna send it to you, totally disappeared. And then finally I just sent a message. I'm like, hey, you know, hope you're well. I figured maybe I haven't heard from you in like a month, so I figure, you know, maybe you you know, don't want to move forward or you're not ready yet. Totally, it's all good, but if you want to move forward ever, just let me know. And he's like, oh yeah, I broke my ankle and like shattered it and had to get like pins put in it, and like he was just out of commission, didn't, you know, was not in the mood to. And then, you know, and then when he was ready, he hit me up. And so I think, you know, just never assume why they're not, even if they're total radio silence, and just keep it cool and, you know, be friendly, and then just have a slightly different reason why you're reaching out every time. Like, oh, I thought of you, I saw this article or whatever, blah blah. And then yeah, and look, after 3 or 4, if they're not responding, you just let it go, you know. Like sometimes, again, you never know what the reason is unless they tell you, and it's better not to assume. And at the same time, like if they're not responding in a like courteous, timely manner, then they're probably not the right clients for you anyways, because the ones you want are the ones that are fucking like they really want the job, like they want to, they need it, you know what I mean? And so you just move on to the next person, and that's why it's a numbers game, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, just send them a picture of
You know, it's
horses
tough.
from
I feel
Godfather. Just be like, do you want this to happen to you? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
No, well, with that one though, that most recent thing was the sporting complex. It's an indoor sporting complex in this area, and they want so much stuff done, but then they don't want to pay for it. And I've worked with somebody who actually left the sporting complex, and he's off doing his own thing now. And he just says that after the one person who pretty much started it all, after he passed away, that's where everything went downhill. Some people came in, they're not the right people, know how to do business correctly and stuff. So when I was told that I should probably reach out to these people, I was kind of hesitant, and now it just kind of puts towards what I heard already.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good red flag to keep track of. I think you know, you need to be doing your prospecting anyways, and so the more you do that, the better you're going to get at identifying companies that probably have at least the means to do it, if not the interest, right? Like you just want to find companies that, what I look for is I look for companies that are already doing some kind of marketing. Like if they've spent money on something, then that means they could spend money on you. You just, it's your job to convince them you're the person to spend money on. And actually that brings up another point that I think would be really good for you guys, especially local people. One technique that you could do is go to your bookstore or a grocery store and grab a local publication that is literally a magazine or a newspaper or something that is specifically for your area, and then hit up all the people that paid for an ad. Because if they paid for a print ad, they'll pay you for something digital, because you can go back to them and be like, hey, you probably didn't get what you wanted from this. Would you like to join us in the future? And you know, and that is a fantastic way to reach out to people, because again, they've already spent money, so they've already indicated they have the ability and the interest, and now you just need to convince them that you're the person to give a shot to. So you could even say, hey, I saw your ad. I have some ideas for videos that you can use to maximize your campaign and be more efficient. If you're interested, like, let me know. And again, these people are, if they have an interest and a need, like they'll cut straight to the chase. Like even like if you look at Henry's email, like they even said like, we're always looking for shooters, right? So if you notice in his response, he went straight to, oh, what camera do you have? You know, it wasn't like, oh, I'll get back to you later. It was literally like, oh, you got my interest. Now let me ask you some specific questions so that I can categorize you in my head of if you're the right person to keep talking to or not. You know what I mean? So that's why the prospecting part is really important, that you start getting a better bead on who you're talking to, and definitely not just going off referrals. Referrals is a bonus, but it's not a business plan. So really you need to think about, what am I going to do with my time? Who am I going to reach out to, and how am I going to reach out to them? And just make that your goal and your responsibility, and you don't even care if people are referring business to you or not, because it doesn't matter at this point, you know. Cool. Any other questions? I think we went a little bit over, which is a good ending for this. You know, I had a good time talking with you guys too, so it was fun for me, and I appreciate you guys rolling with the punches. I know a couple of the weeks were a little little iffy and all that stuff. It was actually a challenge for me to do this, to be honest, because my work exploded right when the challenge started, so it became pretty fucking crazy. So but it was fun. So like I said before, I'll obviously I'll still be working with you guys. I'll still be sticking around, so you can email me with any questions and share your updates, or if you just need tips as you're going along, and then anything that maybe other people could benefit from, throw it in the Facebook group so that we can just help other people too with some of the advice. But yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna get lunch. You guys are awesome. I will send you guys the replay and all the documents, and I'm sure we'll be keeping in touch.
Yeah. All right. Well, massive thanks to you, Henry.
No
Yeah,
worries.
thank
Henry.
you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Amazing, very helpful.
This
It's
is my
great.
pleasure. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys by the end of the year. What we have accomplished. So
Yeah, we gotta have a reunion call.
I think we should. Let's totally do a check-in. Maybe like we'll do one in like August or something, and then we could do one like at the end of the year.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Virtual.
Part of the alumni
Right.
now.
Yeah, exactly. The alumni,
Yeah, where's our degrees at?
yeah. You got to get your goal first, and then I'll give you the degree. But I seriously appreciate you guys. So thank you so much for showing up, and we'll talk soon. Okay.
Thanks, Henry.
All right.
Thanks, Henry.
Cool.
Cheers.
See you, mate.
See you, everyone.